Earth angels, it may be very important for you to start to think about your time when you're dispatched in for people as semesters. It's something that was just downloaded to me in my studies and meditation, and the angel said that it may be very helpful for you to realize that not every person that you go in to help, assist, transform, uplift, educate, or support. Maybe you're not doing all the magical things. You're just there for it to be a pillar of support during a certain season of their life that, excuse me, point out the exit ramps to help them to see how to get out of whatever is their limited situation or whatever way that the matrix has them trapped, because sometimes the matrix will make us believe we are stuck. When I became a reader many years ago, one of the things that I would hate was when I would watch any of, well, a certain sect, let's say, of the YouTube girlies that were like, oh, wait for your person to come back to you. They're stuck. The third party tricked them and whatever. And I believe that we all have things that happen to us for a reason. But my experience helped me to see, yeah, I can have compassion. And as empath and as an earth angel, we have the ability to see something from 360 degrees. But we give and extend people a level of compassion that they would never reciprocate. And I'm not advocating to stop being compassionate, earth angel. I'm saying spend those compassion coins with people who genuinely care about you and value you. Not everybody will. Some people just want to be close to you to be contrarian. Some people want to come in and mess up things. Some people want to deprive you of things just because they feel like you live a very charmed life, whatever that may be. But in those moments, maybe so much compassion isn't needed because sometimes we hinder those people that we're assigned to from learning the lesson. And then you start to accumulate. And this is, if you get nothing else from this chat today, you will start to take on their karma, their psychic karma, their spiritual karma, their financial karma. It now becomes a part of you, their paranoia, their internal thoughts. You got to have fantastic spiritual hygiene, and even the best of us have succumbed to being in someone else's energy that didn't like us, because it doesn't matter how much you protect yourself, the very gift that you have creates the atmosphere where you're going to feel what other people feel about you. It's not what they say. There are some relationships that are irreparable that you've had from your past because of what people thought about you, how they put their mouth on you, how they spoke on you, how they spoke word witchery over you. People that may have thought that they were the most staunch Christians were far more of a witch and far more into witchcraft than they ever could project that you were. They were gossiping, they were undermining, they were not checking in with the Spirit of God that they say that they know allegedly. It's so ironic, guys, in the spiritual community, we get tons of flack because people are like, well, the Bible is and the Bible that, and da 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 da. We're not in a box. I can't help you. You're in a box in your misery. I'm not in a box. It doesn't mean that Christianity is a misery. It is to say that until you unindoctrinate a lot of the dogma that you are taught, you will not find spirituality in a way that feels right to you. And there are some people that don't even believe what I believe, and that's okay too. I believe in God. That's just me. That's just how I roll. You do you, but people project a lot of stuff onto you that do not near have the level of connection with God that you do. They're not near as at ease with their self or their personhood in the way that you are. And so some of these relationships that you are dispatched into, you're up against all of that family, friends, opinions, the rest of it. And you may be dispatched in to help one earth angel. And then you start to carry the weight as we do. They're showing me the movie I love Encanto. I'm hearing, we don't talk about Bruno. No, no. Is it Encanto? I don't know if I have the right one. Encanto, Coco. It's not Coco. We don't talk about Bruno. It's Bruno, the Bruno one. I think it's a Canto. There's a sister who's always strong. Her name is Sue or Susie, and she's always lifting things. But she admits at some point, I don't always want to be this strong. Like, it was her persona and she took it on and she rocked it and people were impressed with her. But she didn't always want to have to be in her masculine energy all the time. She wanted her own version of a soft life. She had her own dream to not be seen that way, though she didn't mind that it was her strength. Sometimes we go in, Earth Angels, and we become that archetype, that character, where we are carrying the weight of the world like Atlas on our shoulders for people that then become unappreciative. I'm hearing they're ingrates. That's what the angel said. They're ingrates. Angels get very upset. I want you guys to understand what they share with me. They hate. I know it's a strong word in our vocabulary. They despise. They abhor. They detest. That's how serious it is. They said break out, break out the thesaurus on their ass. They said they detest when people come into your life or they pray for you and then they open a portal so that you can enter someone's life. They get their quote unquote wish and then they start to treat you like shit, or they start to dismiss you or undermine you, or then they are bought in to be tested up against you. Maybe their jealousies, their insecurities will be only heightened in your presence. And you, that's how you end up with a lot of people around you that may have started out initially cool, but then they quickly get triggered by you, and then they start to behave in their worst, lowest vibrational ways. Mm, which is precisely why your relationship with God is so important and your grounding in your spirituality matters, because you need to be able to discern that. There's no one you can talk to when those things happen. And I mean, you can come here. There's tons of work that I have created in our, virtual encyclopedia here. There's lots of things to research and to understand. There's tons of teachers here on YouTube, philosophers, gurus, you name it. You find what resonates with you. But those people come into your life, and when they start treating you so badly, there's no other friend that you have that you can say, hey, I can hear what these people are saying, and I can tell they don't really like me, but yet they still want me around. And that can cause cognitive dissonance with you if you're not grounded and you understand the work that you're dispatched in to do. You're not supposed to stay with them forever. And I promise you, all of the metaphors and cutesy things that you've seen in any devotional or chicken soup for the soul is the truth. Some of us plant the seed, some of us water it, some of us harvest it. Your job is not to plant and then stay into the autumn season for full harvest cycle. Sometimes it takes years for a tree to bear fruit. There are people that are waking up right now. And I don't mean physically waking up. I mean figuratively and spiritually waking up. There are people that you had a row with, or you had a round with, or you had a spiritual warfare battle with. People that went rogue, that came against you, that allowed themselves to be co-opted by that third party, that all those readers are like, they just can't break out. It's so strong. She's horrible to them, and she's tricked them, and they're still there, and we don't understand, but they just think of you all the time. That's not my ministry over here. I'm not going to keep any one of you stuck in limbo in any relationship dynamic, whether it's romantic or platonic, thinking that there's still some life, earth angel lifeblood of yours that you can give to the situation. You will end up being destroyed. And I would be remiss as a teacher and irresponsible to not tell you the other side of that fairy tale of save your twin, or save your friend, or save your soulmate, or save your bestie. When they go rogue, they have gone rogue thusly. And also the angel said, we heard what they said when you couldn't hear it in the 3D. We may have sprinkled it into your head clairsentiently, clairaudiently, but we didn't give you the full throttle, and they never do whilst you're in it, to protect you, because you would crash out. You would behave differently. When I have been guided to leave people that were mentally unwell or triggered by my energy or jealous or hateful, maybe they were never jealous. They just were like, bitch, I just don't feel like you deserve it. In my society, what you look like and how you show up, you don't seem like you should be getting all this. Like, how come I'm not even getting this, but I am the standard? I've had a lot of spiritual warfare with people that were the standard, that were full of themselves, that were racist, that were bigoted. And so they were very upset by my ass showing up with all of whatever magic I have. How dare I? How am I getting treated better in whatever scenario, pound for pound, literally, than they are? How is that happening? It was warping their brain. It would cause cognitive cognitive dissonance for them. So they would want to project that back onto me, how much they hate themselves. They're like, no, look, this is how you should feel about yourself, how I feel about myself. You should have these same insecurities. How come you're so confident? How come you're not worried about every whatever their worries were, you didn't adopt it. That's what I mean by you're swinging through. It's just a semester. Consider it a semester abroad. Consider it a semester domestically. Whatever way you need to think about it, understand you're not supposed to stay there for an eternity to help people that will destroy you. What people do to an earth angel who's overstayed their welcome is they devour them. And you end up leaving as a shell of yourself. Then you have to put yourself back together, friend. I'm hearing the angels say, when I move, you move. Just like that. That's how they've walked with me. I've shared many of my stories, from medical to friendship to lovers. God has been in the midst of every guidance system for me, because God instructs me to move, and I don't explain it to people. When I get cut free from the assignment, when I've served my time, when I have done however many tours of duty inside of some spiritual warfare, and God pulls me out like the reconnaissance mission, he sends in Metatron and other powerful warring angels, Michael, and he's like, get her out of there. She's done enough. They're about to start doing damage to my beloved. And you know what the word says, touch not my prophet, or do my beloved no harm, or touch not my prophet or my beloved and do my prophet no harm. Either way, flip it or reverse it, she is worth it, and she's worth the rescue. So they'll get you out of those situations, but you have to listen to the still small voice inside of you, and you got to move on a dime. I have people in my life that I no longer will hold space for. In this lifetime, we completed our mission and our assignment. Whether they pass or fail the test, I planted seeds, and someone else will come in to do the rest. It may not be as pleasant as what we do, Earth Angel, but the point is, it's not up to you to make the most pleasant spiritual ascension for anybody. If they start to fight you, they go rogue and start to treat you poorly, that is their karma and their dharma that they're creating in real time, and they don't ever get to evade it. That's what you need to understand, but it doesn't begin until you escape it. And that is the grip from them, my friends. When you get out of that connection, out of that test, out of that dynamic, out of that relationship, out of that experience, out of that job, out of that family dynamic, when you break that generational curse, then the rest of the work can begin. It is not your job to be the hen, to sit on the egg the whole time and incubate it until it is alive. We are such hens. You've ever seen hens? Hens will sit on anything. They'll sit on a cat. They'll sit on somebody else's egg. They are very much like, I'm going to warm this and make it come to life. That's the magic that we have with angel. But sometimes they being the angels, will cut us off because this person's been causing you internal strife. One of our superpowers, Earth Angels, is to be able to feel what people think about us before they say it. So if they say, I'm going to cooperate with you, but really they're going to be contrarian, we know that. So we start moving off of their behavior, not their words. We move off of actions. Everybody says it, but I feel like we have a powerful ability to act that way and act on our intuition. People say that that's what you should do in the world, and you can see it on your For You page, but not everyone's moving that way. Earth Angels, hands down, are moving that way. People that are empaths, people that had to figure out how to survive in a world that was not safe. We don't listen to what the abusive parent says. We pay attention to the flinch of their hand, the jerk of their head. We know that's where the danger is. One of the things that has been my saving grace, and I always advise it for you, is to study body language and facial movements and pay attention to people, because I have saved myself time after time after time. I had a series for the last several years. I came out of a twin flame thing many years ago, and ever since that moment, I thought, oh, we'll have peace. No, I've had lessons, I've had sharpening, I've had lessons. I've had moments where people were good for me and then they went rogue. I had moments where people maybe we had misunderstandings. I had moments where I handled things wrong too. To be very honest and transparent with you, where I could have communicated more. And then I also had moments like many of you guys ran into, where I could not have communicated more, where people were projecting their mother wounds or their father wounds onto you and onto me, and they were wanting me to do the work that some of their own parents failed to do. They, again, who raised you comes to mind. And the Earth Angels, we get into that position, but the angels can see when people around us are truly on demon time, and they mean us no good, and they do not want to work with us. So they said, understand that when we send you in, it's just for a semester. If someone is not going to evolve with you, then you can do them no better, and you will actually create a detriment and a deficit in your life, because they will then begin to treat you not right. And the angels, I want you to understand that there are some people that come up in your life that your angels really don't like. They may understand the lesson. They may be proud of you for having selected the harder choose your own adventure before you incarnated. They may be like, oh, this is that. Remember, she picked this. She picked this when she was still in the multiverse. Now she's in the 3D, and she's around the bend from that test with this one person who's going to change the course of her life and destiny, but not because they're a proper destiny helper or spiritual up leveler, but because they're going to be destructive AF to her. We know it. We hate it for her. So we're going to make sure that before she gets into this next situation, she is so able to hear us and communicate with us that we can get her out and pull her out when it's time. But she still has to pass her own tests, is what those angels discuss at their round table. And the test that you pass, which many of you do, Earth Angels, is to get away from people that don't mean well for you. You've got to hear that inside of you, because people will gaslight you and want to convince you, especially you, Earth Angels. I feel like we are a protected species. That's my mission. It's so good to know what God put you here to do. My mission is to empower, educate, and protect you. Protect primarily, okay? I'm in masculine energy when it comes to that with you guys. What is it? Protect, provide, proclaim. I'm so proud of you. I tell everybody about you guys. I love you. But protect for sure. Okay? So that's why we have our duality, and let me indulge in that for you. You need to understand that these people can do such damage to you. That's why you have to be in tune with your star player, which is you. You need to be listening to your spirit team, because they're going to want to benefit from having you around. That's the catch-22 with us, Earth Angel, that I think makes us unique to a lot of people in the world, is that you are an up leveler, a benefit. Even if they hate you and you hate them, and there's a silent war, cold war going on, just you still being around them proximity means that they'll be blocked from their karma, and maybe even still blessed from your beautiful energy that they're siphoning. When I realize how much people don't want to cooperate with me, I immediately call my power back and let them sit back in their energy. I don't send them anything. I don't go to spiritual, the games that they play. I'm empowered with God, really. When people come up against me, they see the supernatural things that happen. And I believe the same is true for you, where even if we never speak another word, they may never be able to tell anybody who wouldn't think they were crazy, oh no, this animal totem showed up and my intentions weren't good. And so I had to handle it accordingly, meaning they had to do what they needed to do to survive, because they knew that whether they understood it fully or not, your ancestors weren't playing with them. That's why people want to stay your homie, lover, or friend, because they watched you in the good times, when even if they just came around to study you, to be jealous, to get close to you, to be weird with you, they know that you're the real deal. And that's exactly why they may be so upset with you, because the reflection and projection game that goes on means that what they're looking back on for them is not real. That's why if it's just a semester, let that be the deal. Take that deal, I'm telling you, and get out when you are guided to. I've saved my life repeatedly. I don't just blow smoke here. You guys have watched me do it in ways that you don't even know. There are stories that I have yet to tell you that are hilarious and funny, where my angels were guiding me, where demons were manifesting, and whatever. That involved international consulates and espionage. I'm not even exaggerating, and freaking I'm going to say Interpol, but it wasn't Interpol. I mean, technically, it was the police in that country. Wild situations that have happened because of people that wanted proximity because it felt good, but they didn't mean well for me. And my angels had to guide me through being protected because I had completed the assignment with them. The last part I'll leave you here with is, do not renegotiate the contract if they did not have your back. When all the dust settles, here's what I promise you, okay? For those of you guys that struggle with closure and you're like, but I just wanted to hear what they had to say and I wanted them to hear what I had to say and blah, blah, blah. My scorpionic energy in the 8th house cured me of that. After crash surprise endings, plot twists that I couldn't see coming no matter how psychic I was, and then moments where I could see it coming, I predicted it before we even began. My angels zapped out of me that reflex to know what the other person's thinking. I don't care. I don't care what they're thinking because I knew what they were thinking because I was watching them act crazy with me and I could predict their movement. So I already know I even know the revelation that they'll have in my absence fully. When I really move away and their karma starts to set in and they realize I'm not coming back, I know how they're going to think about me melancholically. I know what energetic cords they're going to try to reconnect back into me. I know how they'll try to send flying monkeys and spies, etc., etc. I know how they'll try to do divination themselves to try to check in on me illegally. It's spiritually legally, meaning if you don't want someone to be looking at your energy, they shouldn't be. But people that are godless are lawless, and that means they have no boundaries. Okay, these are a godless, lawless people that you guys come up against, collective, and they want to keep you stagnant with them. Maybe you were the best they ever felt. They were living high on the hog, whatever that is for them when they were with you. It wasn't just about physical things. It could have just been about your good juju, your good energy. They were productive. They were getting things done. They were manifesting, maybe for them, if they were focused on relationships or money or whatever, promotion. You step in and you are such a blessing in so many ways to so many people. But if they are not cooperating with you, then that semester's up, boo-boo. It's up. They don't get to hang on your coattails and drain you anymore. You leave. Because you did not know how they were treating you and what they were saying about you and how badly they were thinking about you and how much they were thinking you're stupid or you deserve this, or they were thinking the worst of you. You know, as West Indian women, bad-minded energy is a thing we think about. So we're like, oh, they were bad-minded. That person was bad-minded. What that means is that you are dealing with a person who is going to create anxiety in you because they are always thinking the lowest vibrational shit. It's not just with you. This is their nature. It's probably why you were dispatched in, to raise their vibration or to help them believe in magic or manifestation or seeing things differently. But they are pessimist. You know, I remember my twin flame, I used to call her Eeyore. This is just jokingly day to day. This was not like a secret behind her back joke. This is like me talking to her face to face, because she was always the saddest pessimist and person in the room, always the saddest girl in the room. And my rescuing codependent unhealed ass was like, I can fix this wound. Well, she was a gaping wound. She was a never ending a wound of needs, and she was irresponsible, and she just, I'm saying it, you know, I'm being redundant, but I was like, she wouldn't take responsibility. I cannot convey to you how irresponsible she was and how it was never her fault, etc., etc. And y'all been around a covert narcissist? They're the trickiest to me. But she was Eeyore. She was so sad. She was so contrarian. She was so depressed all the time. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't a real medical imbalance there. There was in her case. Whether she dealt with it ever right or not, she self-medicated often. And you guys have been around people like that too. How much of your life do you fritter away to that if that's not you or the path that you're on? I think about the things that I've accomplished in the past several years of my life. If I would have stayed trying to cauterize her wounds, I would have never took flight to any degree. Okay? And she would have been the first one looking at me being like, gosh, you didn't fulfill anything you said in your destiny, because she was talking that kind of shit to me before I left. I was like, why isn't this taking off? The car is sputtering. It's a cold morning. I can't get the engine to turn over. It's because I was around people that hated me. As soon as you leave people that hate you, magically solutions arrive. You manifest things you never thought you could have before. You find solutions for problems that are ailing you. But if you're pouring all your energy into an Eeyore, they'll let you and then be like, why isn't your energy juicy enough? They'll empty you and then be like, I've got to go to somebody else who respects themselves to fill up my cup. This is sad. Like, y'all, do not let people drag you to the other end. Where you foil a lot of narcs and toxic people is you get away from them before they can really carry out their final acts of punishment or whatever the case may be. Later down the road, all of that compassion you have will manifest into a reality. And I'm not talking about in other relationships with your tribe, but you already know how they're going to feel when they miss you because you were a vibe. You already know how they're going to feel when they need your help, like was the original structure of whatever relationship that you were dispatched into for that semester. People get real big on your energy. They get very intoxicated. I'm channeling Kanye, real big-headed. My presence is a presence, kiss my ass. That is how they feel in your energy, because that is your energy. And they confuse it because they've not done any grounding soul work. But they are egomaniacs. The difference between us and them is we understand what a gift we are, but we're humble about it, friends. I talk shit to you here so that you can elevate and understand what a treasure you are. So that when you're near those people, because they'll zap it right out of you, they know. There has not been a single person that I've interacted with in the last several years after my twin flame, and including my twin flame, who didn't specifically tell me about how good life was when I was there. Not just like, oh, I love you, girl. Some of that too. But also like, I am more clear-headed. Your thoughts help me. You're solution oriented. You've helped me solve this problem. I really appreciate you. I need you. I value you. If you're set up in the structure that way, those people know what it is in the beginning. They get in your energy and then they lose their way. They can't handle it. And that's a big litmus test for where you're going next. God's not going to keep anybody next to you that's going to get drunk off of your energy and then start to mistreat you. And that happened time after time. And before people could become their worst selves, before I would end up despising them and living in the vapid, viscous, sticky energy that they exist in, I got out of there so that I could forgive them. Really, when you leave and you take that exit plan when the semester is finished, and usually Earth Angels, those people choose to end the semester, even if it's prematurely, by their actions, by their own self-sabotaging narrative. If they're worried about you not liking them, they're going to create that. Or if they're worried that you're going to leave them, they're going to create that. People speed run the end or the endings of your relationships, the angels said, because they get locked in their head, because they are not grounded with God or their angels. So they're not talking to anybody being like, hey, is this me or is this them? Or should I worry about the collective? Are they really trying to get me? They're not asking those questions. So their judge, jury, and executioner is the outside validation. We all get validation. What I respect about us is we get it spiritually. It's a different thing. So that's why it's uncheckable in a way. Like people try to check you and it's like, well, the orchestrator of the Fibonacci sequence and the flower of life, God, God of wonders, above all alien, above all animal, above all Homo sapien. He's a great mathematician and he already checked the math. The lie detector says you're a liar. I don't go back and forth with people. And I don't say that to flex. I'm saying it because it is a basic requirement. Before I leave, before I decide to end that semester, before the test has passed or failed, I have usually pulled back in my energy, and I highly recommend you do the same. I'm not going back and forth with him in any kind of exchange, because what's higher than God? It's not me. If God told me to stay, then there I stay. If God tells me to flee, then I go away. Because I know that he'll later tell me things that he would not want me to hear, because he knew that it would have gone left if I was near. So as you get away from your narc, your covert narc, your hating ass frenemy friend, whatever you have, everyone's not a narc, but let's say they're just dual vibrational, you will have so much clarity. Every answer you want, all that closure, quote unquote, that you think you need, happens in the absentia of the toxic energy. When you get your energy back, like I can tell you right now, I feel like myself. I don't think I felt like myself in the last year or two, because I was dealing with a lot of different energies that were dispatched in. They were tests for me. Yeah, I can see how I was a test for them, but they were tests for me too. And some of them, y'all, I was like, I'm not trying to go to summer school. There was one specifically where I was like, angels, let this semester be over. They said, we didn't even want you in this class, sweetie. You done fucked around and found out. Okay? So you leave when you leave, but don't feel guilty. And any question you have will be answered expeditiously once you truly separate your energy. They want them to live in their misery that they wanted to create for you. You know, they always talk about that. The grave that they dig for you will be the one they lay in. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's a scorpionic truth. When people set out to create prisons for you, they will end up in a prison. When people set out to make you beg and have to ask permission, they will find themselves at the mercy of things. I'm channeling Diddy right now. Ooh, y'all, so much to discuss there. They will end up reaping what they sow. He's a Scorpio. That's why he comes to mind. But he is the darkest, most out loud archetype of Scorpio. He is all of the Scorpio things. He's everything that he did. If you guys saw the documentary, everything that he did and everything that he was literally all that he ever could have been as a Scorpio. It's like if someone is in their highest vibration, Diddy was in his lowest vibration, and that's needed, and that shows up. Anyway, I have a whole talk off about it. I have some theories on it. But this happens in every century that we have some archetype like this present itself. And to me, I'm hearing a lot of comparisons with Diddy, but the one that the angels have been downloading to me is Caligula specifically. They're like, y'all are trying to make it a lot more trite than it is. This guy is truly monstrous, but this archetype shows up throughout history. Anyway, we'll discuss it. The angels and me. I love when they take me through history. I say, yes, come on, history. Let me learn something. But when they said Caligula, they just downloaded it. They said Caligula. And I said, oh my God, today you did not lie. No lies were told. So I'm gonna pop on here and we're gonna chat about the Diddy doc for sure. I have some spiritual thoughts about that. But back to these people. You take the exit. I'm actually going to wrap with this regarding exits and Mace. Mace was grounded with God. This is so, thank you, angels. I love when they do it. Mace had a relationship with God. He actually left Diddy so that he wouldn't lose himself, essentially. And he went off and he preached, and he was one of the first people to demand that Diddy do right by him. Diddy eventually did, but it took a lot of time, social peer pressure, other walls caving in on him before he paid Mace back his money. But Diddy was renowned for doing everyone dirty. Now we all know the inside and out of it because of this documentary by 50, but and Netflix. But the thing is that Mace was an example. We are the archetype. That's what it would be. Mace would be the archetype of the Earth Angel. Someone that was talented, that made Diddy's stocks go up. The Earth Angel Stimmy. Mace was really talented. He wrote, like many people did for Diddy. As you can see in the documentary, if you watched it, Diddy is a terrible artist. He has no real talent. His talent is energy swapping and destiny swapping and energy siphoning and other things that we'll talk about as I do my video. But Mace had an actual relationship with God, and God told him leave. And to everyone else around Mace, it may have made no sense, but he's Diddy, and he's Diddy at the time when Diddy and Bad Boy are the biggest rap, conglomerate at that time. There was always factions going against each other, of which now we understand he was the center creation of all of the drama. And two of the greatest rappers we ever had, we lost because of scorpionic, jealous ass, petty energy. Anyway, that's Diddy. That's scorpionic energy for you. And so Mace said to him, you're going to do right by me. Literally kind of put the curse of the color purple on him. Until you do right by me, nothing's going to prosper. And even when he did right by him, Diddy's karma could not outrun him. He couldn't outrun the karma. But Mace didn't check with his outside validation. Sometimes you guys get dispatched into people's lives that only have outside validation. Now, here's the thing about outside validation from humans. They're tricky. They have their own agendas, their own attachments, their own jealousies, their own resentments. You could be getting blessed, and you could be next to someone that should love you and be happy that you're getting blessed, but they're miserable watching that happen for you because they're not healed. They could be a relative. They could be a friend. They could be your greatest longtime bestie. But the heart of man is always tricky. That's why it's so important to have a relationship with your spirit team, with God, with your angels, because man's always going to lie to you. Man's always going to play a little trick, and you may not know what it is. The most purest of soul could go rogue because that's how the devil can get to you sometimes, Earth Angels. So Mason asked all his homies and friends, when you're in a relationship with people, guys, and they have all of the advisors advising them that are flawed humans that may be like, oh, well, you're my like I think of my twin flame. She had very religious narcissist parents, we would say, and they were not abiding by any societal puritanical rules whatsoever, okay, of the pastor specifically, and they were not abiding by just the rules of being a Proverbs person or Proverbs wifey for the wife. I mean, they may have thought so in their pious energy, but they were not living right. Their hearts weren't right. That's what God's looking at, yeah. And so, but they definitely had a lot of judgments for my twin flame, right? And I knew that her advising camp was toxic people and druggies and this and that. Those parents were not druggies. But the point is, whoever she was around was getting advice. She was out of her grounding. She was spiritually connected. She was talented. She was gifted, but she deviated. So was I supposed to play out the semester when she's getting advice from crazy people and I'm getting advice from my angels, and my advice was right? She'd tell you to this day right now, if she had an ounce of goodness in her and she was sober, she would be like, you predicted stuff that happened way before it ever happened, and it freaked me out. She told me that before I left. It's not just what I know she would say now. Even now, I think she's probably more clear about it, but she told me it before I left. She told me it in sly ways that she didn't think I was catching when we were still friendly. She was just like, ah, it's so funny. You don't know how good you are. Because she was living in a manifested reality that I predicted she would be in, for good, bad, or indifferent. She was intoxicated in it, but the point is, I listened. I knew what was going to happen. She wasn't trying to admit it to me then, but I know her well, so I knew it was an admission. And now, upon retrospect, I was dead on. I could almost, like an archaeologist, pinpoint the time frames in history because of some of the things that she was or wasn't saying to me as to when her situation started deepening or when it got carried away, etc., etc. That's what I mean by we listen. And when I popped back into Mace's energy, he had friends and family that were like the people that you've been dispatched into's lives, hating as friends and family. Or maybe demons they're chatting with. Maybe they're talking to demons and they think they're talking to angels. I don't know. But people were like, don't go with Diddy. You're never going to make this money. And he's like, that's just it. I'm not making any money. This man is doing me dirty. He's foul. He's evil. Like, people keep dying around him. Money keeps going missing around him. He is a vortex. He's a black hole of demonicry. He's a black hole of effery. He's a black hole of endings. He is scorpionic energy on this earth personified. So you could see the dark, deep underbelly. And he's just a surface scratch, okay? Ellen's another evil one. Always knew it, always, but we'll talk about that in a second in the Diddy video. But the point is that they all were in on it. And Mace decided, I'm not going to be. Mace was the archetype of us, Earth Angel. He said, I'm going to get away from Diddy, even if it makes no sense to anybody around me. I'm going to go dive into my spirituality. He actually became a pastor. And then I'm going to pop back out into the streets with a podcast with my bestie. Him and Cameron have a podcast, and it's kind of hilarious. Mace is really funny, actually. Really talented, really funny. But he did it his way. He listened when God said move, when Diddy was like, what are you talking about? It doesn't get bigger than Bad Boy. I'm everything, blah, 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 blah. Well, like whoever wrote for Diddy, because it wasn't Diddy that said it, but it was one of his more famous songs, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together, now or never, business before pleasure. P. Diddy and the fam, who you know do it better. A lot of people do it better, Diddy. The fam for Mace was God, his angels, and his homies, okay? The fam for us, Earth Angels, is our angels and God, because they get us out of those semesters that were going to be so hard on us. You know how much time and energy and torture Mace saved himself because he had integrity and a backbone, and he didn't just go along with the cult, with the family. I also believe that we have our experiences that shape us. And I believe that for me, and I want you to check in with yourself for you what it is. I've survived a lot of these experiences because I was immersed into terrible experiences in my life with people that hated me. So I got so familiar. That was the gift that scorpionic energy gave me. I got so familiar with the energy signature of what people that are triggered in my presence feels like that it doesn't matter if they're black or white. I can pick out a narc, a hater, a demon on sight. I can tell the second when someone that's been sidled up to me as my favorite whatever has gone rogue. I know things that they don't want me to know. And like Mace, I move whether people think that I should go or stay. I break the status quo and I move away. And usually when an Earth Angel moves, we cause an exodus and people follow suit. Mace was the first domino that fell when he said, give me the loot, give me the loot. You're a bad boy. Diddy was not playing by the rules because demons don't play by rules. They play by their father's rules until they are only used as a tool. When Zane was done with Diddy, he said, and now I will humiliate you before everybody. For every humiliation ritual you put someone through, I got a humiliation ritual or two for you. And guess who wasn't around for all that? For the crumbling and the falling? Mace. Because he had his own back and he had the listening ear of his angels when they said move. You haven't even seen the worst of Diddy. The irony that Mace left Bad Boy at a time when Diddy only grew in stature, power, and evil. And he was coddled and protected by the industry that also partakes in the same levels of evil, Illuminati, rituals, etc., all that. Yeah. We can get into some of that over here too, but that is what you need to understand about how you protect you in these semesters. You will spare yourself. If you thought what you went through is bad, my angels always make sure to forecast for me or telecast. I sometimes get a "that's so Raven" picture of someone talking to me crazy and how it could go left, like violently, like how we could end up on Snap. My angels, that's why it's important to be in touch with your shadow, because my angel said, and I heard Mace talk about that once, he said, I literally left because I knew that I was about to lose my religion. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. Oh no, I said too much. I haven't said enough. That part. When you're like, the way that I will come out of my soul and out of every angelic feather wing to wring your disrespectful neck, it's a real test. See, there's tests for us too, Earth Angels. So whilst you're at school and someone's pushing you to that point, when you're like, I know this person didn't just wait a minute, Jesus. Now, how much virtue am I supposed to have? Am I not just human? I am not an angel. I might be an Earth Angel. Love that for us. But are you kidding me? Has this person lost their mind? God will tell you to move away before he even starts to whisper to you the crazy things people did say. After Mace left, Diddy heard all, or Mace heard all, or after Mace left, yeah, Diddy did hear all kinds of things, but Mace heard what Diddy really felt. He heard the gossip, he heard the threats, he heard how Diddy lied on him. That's what an arc's gonna do, but who stands tall, firm, and unscathed further by the misuse, mishandling, and the abuse that Diddy would have doled out? Mace. It's because he listened to his angels. Let that be you. When the semester is over, even if it makes no sense to anybody else around you, it's over. There have been cults that I've left. There have been families that were acting as covens that I've left. There have been families that thought they were families, but they were really cults. God knows. Beans, greens, and potatoes. And I've had every one of those experiences. And I used to be like, why you hate me, Jesus? Like, why I always have to keep going through this? Well, it was to teach. It was to fortify my weapons, my spiritual warfare ability, to level me up. I have a message coming here called Master. There was a song they put out to me recently, Call Me Master. Really interesting play on it. I'll see if I can do it justice for you. And also they said your ancestors are coming through like this. And this is why they want you to leave when they tell you the semester ends. I'm channeling Rockstar by Post Malone and 21 Savage. They said your ancestors, your angels, are savages in ways because they are pissed about the way people treated you. We don't even know the full of it because they won't let us know sometimes out of our own protection, but they hear all of it. And so your ancestors are so angry. And the song they channeled for me this week that they wanted me to get to you, I was like, do I do a video or a reading on this? And they said, just tell them that this is how we're showing up. It's Rockstar with Post Malone. Your ancestors are the rock star in that. It's not you that's a rock star. The ancestors are getting to, I'm hearing, bloodlet your enemies, spiritually speaking, because some of your ancestors were not all like love and light. Some of them were vicious, vermicious knids themselves, who maybe didn't ever teach you properly how to fight. Maybe they created the fight in you because they were the narc that did you. They were the one that broke you, but maybe on the other side they see it differently. Maybe not all of your ancestors are working with you that way. I know I have one specifically that does, but also you have just protecting loving ones you've never met before. You don't have to know your ancestor to understand that you have people coming through to help you, and it could be different archetypes and different ethnicities that are coming through, but maybe there's a lesson that you're going through, and then the right ancestors kind of dispatch into you. That's how the angels explain it to me. What they want you to know, though, is that they're vicious. They love brutality. I don't know why you need to hear this. When you watch the Rockstar video, what is very striking is Post Malone is in all white, and I think it's for the effects, and it's kind of like this kind of it's like a play on like a Chinese or Japanese, kind of like a kung fu film, if you will, from like back in the day, like the 70s. And Post Malone, you always forget how tall he is. Post Malone's really tall, but he's in this white suit and it's all tailored, and he's talking about how he's a rock star, and he's like popping pills, drinking out of bottles like a rock star, blah, 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 blah. That's not you, Earth Angel. That's your ancestors kind of living out vicariously, maybe parts of life they didn't get to live, when they get to rock the shit of people that try you. And the thing about it that they want you to understand before you close out this semester, if you feel like, man, I didn't get my lick back, my angels instructed me to leave and do it quietly. Sometimes you're dealing with people that are crazy. I've had all different kinds of guidance for how I exit a situation, right? And so sometimes I'll exit the situation and cuss somebody out directly. Sometimes I'll just be really peaceful, like, hey, we tried, good luck. Look at us. We had a romance. Wasn't it fun? I literally talk to people this way, okay? And then I'm out. And then I dip. I don't look back. I don't let any emotional manipulations get to me. But the ancestors are talking about, they said, back to us, they said, tell them we are right now dancing on the head top of your enemies. Your Diddy. Who's the Diddy in your life? Who's the person who tried it, took advantage of you, was a scorpionic, hot ass, hustling, lying, untalented, energy siphoning fucking mess? Who was that person to you? And they said, watch that Rockstar video. It's not about the lyrics. It's that the ancestors are embodying it. They're like, we now are popping pills and drinking, and we're crashing out, essentially. It's not so much about the actual thing they're doing, they said. It's about the essence and the energy of what they're doing to your enemies. And the whole thing is like this fight sequence, and there's so much blood spilled. It's like purposely done, I think, to be not just triggering, but it's like more artistic, because they don't show it. It's real blurry from what I've seen. I haven't seen the video in years, but it's like kind of blurred out a little bit. But I just remember Post Malone just with this huge samurai sword, and he's going and he's fighting all the bad guys and whatever. And he's a rock star. I thought, what an interesting concept for that video, because he could have just really been standing on cars, popping pills, partying, but we've seen that 1,000 times. This felt more like a spiritual warfare concept, even him being in white, even all the bloodshed. And your ancestors said, I've been channeling a lot of this, and I know it sounds morbid. There is something that's happening where there's been a reckoning for a lot of you guys, because the other song I channeled the other day was Cardi B and Summer Walker, Dead, and where Cardi's like saying, I want all these bitches dead. I want their heads. I want them screaming for their life. I want to pull the lace fronts off their heads. I want all these bitches dead. It's intense, right? And as the angels were like, love and light. No. The ancestors said, we fight. So Rockstar is a channel message for you guys today or tonight or whenever you're listening to this. They said they're getting busy and they're with the shits. They said, whoever you thought gave you the slip, or whoever you may have thought, I bowed out gracefully because my angels insisted. They said, thank you for being obedient, sweetie. You go sit over there in your soft life, in your beautiful energy. You live in your peace. You freed yourself, and let us make sure that you are vindicated, because you learn how to be a warrior in the garden. You look like you were at peace planting flowers, but you were sharpening that sword. But they said, let us swing it. And when we're coming, they will not hear a word. See, these ancestors and these deities that work with you, see, because I'm channeling Kali right now. I'm channeling Shiva and Shakti. It had to be broken down to build back up. It had to be destroyed. And Kali's energy, people mistake her because they're like, oh, who is this demonic, dark energy woman? Kali, East Indian lore, East Indian goddess who eats the head of the enemies. She hates injustice. If we were to look at it in a tarot card, she would be associated with the justice card of Libra specifically, meaning she hates injustice regarding partnerships, and she hates underdogs and bullies, right? So the scales of justice are channeling in my head right now, and they're saying, you need to understand, but she looks demonic and terrifying, and it's because she hates when people lie and people manipulate or play games, and she eats the head of her enemies and then wears it as a necklace and a chain. So she's formidable. If you Google Kali, you'll be like, whoa, I'm not working with this energy, Monette. No, they said your ancestors are. They want them dead. They want them screaming for their life. They want their heads. They're pissed, man. It's not us. I don't feel those emotions. I didn't even feel those emotions when I was in it, because I was like, man, I feel sorry for you. I have compassion for you. I understand not just how you're going to miss me, but how you're going to realize, man, it's nothing worse than realizing that you were the reason for the fuck up. You know, I've had it happen in my life. I've been the reason for the fuck up where things went left. I have been. But I've not been out of alignment with God even then. I just might not have been listening. These people were out of alignment with God. They were talking to their friends that were like, no, stay with bad boy. Now they're Kalina. If y'all saw the documentary, there was 2 members of Dirty Money. Oh, that song, Angels. Oh, there's so many channels coming through, guys. Angels. The song Angels. I made a video about it, but it was from a relationship standpoint. There's no relationship on my mind right now. I'm telling you right now, your ancestors and angels are on demon time. There was a foreboding song message with the song Angels. This song is made after Diddy has, now we know, been responsible allegedly, because it's not just been said technically, but we all knew, for the unaliving of Biggie and Tupac. And the song is about, I can hear the angels calling so low. Don't you hear them calling? If you don't want to stay, you can go. The people that betrayed you had choices, guys. Diddy, sociopathic as he is, understood the difference between wrong and right. He just didn't care anymore. And a lot of people were in hubris like that, probably because they got high off of your energy. They were like Diddy, untalented to a certain degree. They may have had talent in a certain area. Clearly, Diddy's talent is observing that people are talented. So he could have used that for good and changed lives. As a Scorpio, he was going to, when you meet Diddy, there was an ending point. Something changed, something dies, or something evolves or transforms. It's his birthright as a Scorpio. Anyone that touches him will go through major transformation and dig into their darkest places. But what's terrifying is when you're dealing with someone who enjoys that. You may have been dealing with people that were sadistic, quietly sadistic, hateful of you, rooting for you to fail quietly. Things you would have never heard or understood or even comprehended because you're so sweet, Earth Angel. You're so genuinely humble. You really care about people. So you can't even fathom being bad-minded, as my mother would say, to that degree. But oh, those people around you could. They were your Diddy. And let me tell you, the way that the ancestors and the angels are riding da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da like a rock star. There's one point where he says something like, my goons go rat-a-tat-tat. Like, I'm seeing, he's like, pa-da-da-da. He makes like a gun sound, but it's like a West Indian gun sound in a way for Post Malone. He did the best he could. It's not going good for people. I didn't expect for this to be the message. I thought it was just going to be leave when the semester ends, but this is why you leave. Because once the semester ends, the ass whooping begins. And there are people that are sitting in the ass whooping. It may not be that a single thing happens in their life. Are you compassionate, melting heart, bleeding heart, Earth Angels? But it could just be that they sit with the full awareness now that they're either away from whatever was a distraction. Maybe they're sober. Maybe you're gone long enough that they actually can realize like how much weight you did carry, how much you genuinely loved them or tried or wanted them to win or was only rooting the best for them. They may see you differently. They may have had an opportunity to get your internal thoughts or see you from a different perspective. And your internal thoughts, you could have never said a word to them. It could just be that now, in your absence, they're really marinating and thinking about what happened with you guys. And so they're hearing. And believe you me, their ancestors too are looking at them like, we sent you one of the best. Simply the best. That's what I'm channeling. Better than all the rest. And they were your Ike to your Tina. You were Tina and they were treating like Ike. That part. That's what I'm talking about, guys. You guys had abusive, dominating, insecure people that treated you horrifically in ways that you couldn't even fathom. Because they went rogue, they took the bait. And that's why when it's over and you're supposed to leave, do not look back. Do not turn to a pillar of salt. Flee. Because they didn't treat you great while you were in it, in contract with them. But really, if you understood their motivations, you would be despondent at the unfairness of life. But you might have been used to get that person right. You may have watered the seed, but it is time to take flight. Don't look back to those crops. You're not going to get any fruit from them. That crop wasn't ever for you, but you did a good work, Earth Angel, for what you were dispatched into. I am proud of you. Your angels are proud of you. And they said, now let us finish up the work that we were assigned to do. And I see the samurai sword swinging. Now, when it comes to you, I see a light tap on each shoulder. You're knighted. You're crowned. You just went up a level. You were not held back and not held down. No summer school for you. You did the work you were supposed to. But it swings in a different way for those who crossed you. And now your ancestors feel just like a rock star. They've been waiting for this moment. The thing about that video is it speaks to... Oh, my phone is hot. That's so interesting. It says my phone is hot. Close multi-windows. Fascinating. Hell is hot too. The thing about that video is there's a building anticipation. That's happening. It's like the ancestors and angels have been waiting to avenge you. There's an excitement that you can see. Like, Post is having fun in the video. Probably because any kid that ever watched a Kung Fu movie always wanted to recreate that. How fun. So there's this like whimsical inner child moment where he gets to play out and be this actor. But your ancestors and your angels say, we've been waiting for you to really step away, really heal, really move away from these people that were being evil to you, so that we could do the work that only we can do. Because the angels, oh, the warring angels, it's biblical, y'all. It's in the word, the way that they ride for you. Especially when you get put through what you get put through. Yeah, I'm channeling Joseph, coat of many colors. Some of you guys are about to get into the good part of that story. And you're like, the good part, the whole story was messed up. He was thrown out of the well. He was enslaved. He was defecated and peed on. He was accused. He was in prison. Yeah. Trust me, if I would have understood what I was choosing before I came in, I wouldn't have chosen it either. But there's another part of the story, Zephnath Paneah. That's when he was given the name. Essentially, it translates to the keeper of the grain. When the people that betrayed him, his own family, had to come and they had to bow, but they didn't even know his name because they didn't realize that the boy they threw down the well was now the king, essentially, of the food, of the very grain that they needed to sustain the rest of their destiny. God has a funny way of righting the ship, of making things fair, of turning the tables out of thin air, even if they never thought that it would turn, and they were purposely going out of their way to spurn, to hurt, to gossip, and malign you. Your angel said it feels good to be a rock star. They have samurai work to do. They have kung fu fighting to do. They are in the business of protecting you, and they're proud of you for listening when it was time to exit, for being Mace and saying, I'm not letting anybody, I don't care who they are, play in my face. Because I don't deserve it, because I am talented, because I did contribute, because I leave no debt. Don't let people guilt trip you and gaslight you into fulfilling contracts with them that were null and void the second they started to really hate you and gossip about you and put you in the group chat. The second they did that, if they could even think back to the first time that they started to malign you, they were living on borrowed time and grace that you were in their life for as long as you were. Because they were talking crazy, behaving crazy, thinking crazy, and undermining you in in ways that were diabolical before you ever actually knew. You knew maybe from a spiritual nudge, but before you had like whatever your evidence was or whatever was your final straw, they had been maligning you far before that. So you already paid your debt. Because imagine going to be in service to people that were like, she better be right and better be here and better not say no and better do this. And yeah, that's what we thought. That's what we thought. Oh, she sold this. All of the nasty words they wanted to throw at you, fine. You be all that. But now I hope that they have on their good running shoes, because the ancestors have your back. The angels are on their ass. It's a spiritual attack. There is literal bloodshed for people right now. There's a reason that I channeled that. It's not a coincidence. Those songs come into me as words from my angels to get to you. I'm telling you. The angels and the ancestors said they feel it just like a rock star. They said no one's escaping, no one gets away with anything. They said thank you for listening, and they said that's why we didn't want you to go back, because they did not want you to be part of that ugly spiritual attack. They got to pay for what they did. No one gets away with anything, friends. Not even Diddy. Did he get enough? That's arguable, but see, we're not done. The angel said, I'm going to save this for the video, but I have some predictions, okay? So, God's not finished with Diddy. That's all. He's not finished. He's not done cooking. There's going to be some other things that pop up there with him. Back to you, in conclusion, guys. You did a beautiful work. You passed your test. Even if you think you failed it, you still passed it, because you listened and you left. And now, the angel says, step out of the way. Feeling like a rock star. And let us handle the rest. We know exactly how to play the games that the demons around you like to play. They like gossip, slander. They like alienation. They like disrespect. They like people talking out of the side of their neck. They like people undermining them. Y'all, everything they did to you shall be revisited upon them times many more than two. And on top of it, they have ancestors and angels that are riding for you. We love to see it. So they said, were the rock star. And now they get to act out like a rock star because they know you're too demure, too mindful, and too cutesy to do that. You just moved out of the way of the spiritual attack. They said, trust us, daughter. Trust us, son. We've got your back. We got on our all white and we're ready for the fight. And it will be the blood that we get back that they took out of you from spite. That's a little something for you to sleep well to tonight. For those of you that are new here, I'm a professional intuitive empath. This was a channeled message from my angels about how you leave the semester if they tell you to. You don't have to graduate all 4 years. You don't have to continue to pay your dues. If you're obedient, your angels and ancestors will always support you and they will guide you. They are grateful that you are grounded and you listen. Like Mace, you had a God grounding to not let someone play in your face. It's so good sharing energy with you. And for those of you that are contemplating whether or not you should step out of the way, go watch the Rockstar video and see if that's a mess in which you'd like to stay. Because that's what's coming for those that purposely tried to get in, stay in, and be in your way. Through obstruction, through gossip, through slander, through malign energy, through evil spite, they will be putting out their lights both day and night. So good sharing energy with you. Come back and join me next time, guys. We'll continue to evolve together.